Now let's try some examples using the power rule. So in this case, example 2, if I'm trying to find the derivative, it's going to be f prime of x is equal to, the power is 4 times x raised to the 4 minus 1. You subtract 1 from the exponent. So that's going to be 4x to the third. For part B, the key is to rewrite it, and then you can use the power rule. So in this particular case, we get g prime of x. Oh, I'm not going to do that. I forgot to rewrite it first. It's going to be g of x is equal to x to the 2/5. And then I'm going to use the power rule to find g prime of x. You bring down the power, 2/5, x to the 2/5 minus 1. So g prime of x would then be equal to 2/5 x to the negative 3/5. Now, I don't require that you rewrite it. You could rewrite it and say, oh, that's going to be 2 over 5 times the 5th root of x cubed. You could, or you could try and rationalize, but don't bother if it's not required. Now try C. You're going to rewrite and then use the power. So pause and do it on your own. Okay, part C. Y is equal to x to the negative 3, and again, y prime is equal to negative 3. I'm bringing down the power, x and then negative 3 minus 1 for the power, which gives me negative 3x to the negative 4th. If you want to be fancy, you could rewrite it as negative 3 over x to the 4th, but it's not required if I don't ask you to simplify. Example 3, find the slope of the graph of f of x is equal to x to the 6th for each of the following functions. So now that we have the power rule, I don't have to do the expansion. I don't have to use the limit definition anymore. So we could just do the quick version of it. And also we can do, let's see if our answers end up making sense. I'm going to put in the basic graph of it. Looks like this. You could put it in your calculator and see how it works. Like that. We're going to write f prime of x is equal to, it should be 6x to the 5th. And then we find f prime at negative 2 is going to be 6 times negative 2 to the 5th, which is going to be negative 32 times 6. What's that? Negative 32, sorry. 192, but negative 192. Which is here at negative 2. And by the way, this here then is extremely steep at negative 2 over here. If you look at your graphing calculator, it may not even show at negative 2. You would have to expand it really far to be able to see that. Like make this up here, let's say 50 or something like that. Should that be enough? Yeah, if you then you can see how steep it is there. F prime at negative 1 is equal to 6 times negative 1 to the 5th power. Oops, I'm erasing by mistake here. It's negative 6. So a little less steep at negative 1, but still negative, so it makes sense. F prime at 0 is 6 times 0 to the 5th power, which is 0. That would be a horizontal one there, and f prime at 1 would be 6 times 1 to the 5th, which is 6. That's over here, which makes sense. It's a symmetrical figure, so that means the slopes would also be symmetrical in terms of one being positive and one being negative, but still having that same absolute value of the slope. All right, I want you to try the second question in example 3 on your own. So pause the video right now and then find the values here. And you can draw it again if you need to. shape is pretty similar. Hopefully you agree with me. Example 4, find the equation of the tangent line, the graphs of each function at the stated value. Oh, I have a typo here. Find the equation of the tangent line for the graphs. So this 4, oh, I'm missing a 4 there. Okay, so let's add that in. 4. Whoops, it won't let me do it. 4, there we go. For the graphs of each of the functions at the stated value. So step number 1 is to first find the derivative, then you find the slope, and then you write the equation of a line. So let's, job number 1, find f prime of x. But I'm going to do a little bit of a rewrite so that I can avoid having to use the limit definition. Rewrite. So I'm going to write f of x is equal to x to the negative second power. So that means f prime of x must equal negative 2x to the negative 3. And for my purposes, it might be easier just rewriting that as a rational expression instead. So now I have to find out at x is negative 3. Okay, so moving on, x prime at negative 3 is equal to negative 2 over negative 3 cubed. And it is really important that you all write and justify your steps. If this was a free response on an AP exam, you would have to show the substitution at the very least. You could stop here if they were just asking for the slope of the tangent line. You don't have to simplify that. But for our purposes, I think it'll help. So this becomes 2 over 27. I also need to find f of negative 3 because I need the slope that I need to write the equation of a line is 2 over 27, but I also need a point. And the point, I know that the x-coordinate is negative 3, but I need to find the corresponding y-coordinate. So I'm going to have to substitute it into the original function, like that. So that's going to give me 1 over 9. So 1 over 9. And I'm going to use now the slope and the point to write the equation of a line. And it doesn't specify which form, so I'm going to put it in point slope form. So y is equal to, or y minus 1/9, is equal to 2 over 27 x plus 3. And there you have it. Then if you want to put slope intercept form, then you have a bunch of fractions you have to deal with. Not much fun. All right, now try for B on your own. Pause the video right now and then try for B. Okay, that's example 4.